Hello! So a lot of what you'll be watching is various clips I have put together from when I was sick earlier in April until today. They include me working on a seagull and also trying to dye some yarn. And my cat. Hi. So first off, I have the seagull pattern is from Zumi Gurumi number 7. It's Scraps the Seagull. This is the yarn that I'm working on for the legs and the beak. The yarn is Cascade Yarns Highland Duo, worsted weight. So for the wings, there is a tip color and then there is the main wing color. I'm going to use this Heather Haze for the main wing color. My cell phone is not super intelligent. It apparently doesn't want to focus on stuff, which is annoying. So that's this color. It's purple and it heathers, and it's kind of a gray shade. It looks really good with the seagulls. I've used it I think once or twice before. And then this is Barocco Vintage, some kind of charcoal color that I have left over. And then in case this runs out, it's almost the exact same color as this, and this is a Cascade 220. So the tips are both going to be in these colors, these darker colors, and then the main wing is going to be in this color. Okay, and then we're going to talk about a little bit of the tools of the trade. First off, you're going to need some locking stitch markers. Again, I don't know why the phone doesn't want to focus on that, whatever. So I keep them in this little plastic container. I got this from Joann's at some point. It was a multi-pack of different sizes. Gonna need a hook. So my worsted weight yarn, I always do a 2.75 for my toys. The whales are the only thing done with a 3.5. You're gonna need a stitch counter. I actually use a people counter because it's really easy to just, it feels, you don't accidentally hit something and it just feels so satisfying. Stuffing. To get into small little areas, I actually use needle nose pliers. These are really good for grabbing stuffing and shoving it in and then pulling it back out without anything getting stuck to it. Some people have said to use the blunt end of your crochet hook. This doesn't work for me because it's silicone and so the stuffing sticks to it and just drives me crazy. I've tried using the metal end of another kind of hook that I have, and then it doesn't do anything. Scissors, obviously. And then I have darning needles. These are bent tip darning needles that I have in here. And I actually have a set of 2 of them. So I have these for any kind of sewing that I need to get done. I just want to comment here. You guys have no idea how hard it was to get this shot. I think I did it like 7 times. For a lot of these earlier recordings, I'm still sick, so pardon any of the funny sound. Look at how bright and blinding it is out here. This is my morning. Hi. Here we are, still within the start of April, and my rhododendron is finally starting to bloom, but only half of it, the half that gets morning sun. So I've also decided to start working a bit on some paintings. I have two paintings going right now, this one and then another one. This one I decided to overlay with a mix of purple, blue, and black. And later on I actually go over it a couple of times to make it darker because it's not, this was the first coat and it was too watery, so it was just too pale. These are canvases that I bought that are not treated with gesso, so the first thing that I did whenever I got them was I covered them with a layer of gesso. That just helps prepare the canvas to accept the acrylic paint. I am curious, if you are a painter, do you paint on an easel? Do you paint on a table? Do you paint on the floor like I do? I don't know why, I just always enjoy painting on the floor. It's been my natural go-to for many years. Do any of you attempt to get a beautiful, glorious shot, perfect for some B-roll footage, and then your cat finds out you're there? Okay, welcome in. If you hear a bunch of noise in the background, that is my washing machine getting going because I'm doing laundry. Anyway, this is Cascade 220, 100% wool. It is in water and vinegar, and I'm going to let it soak for a couple of hours to make sure that everything, this is still a little bit on the dry side. I want to break the water barrier and make sure that this is all nice and wet, and then I'll go ahead and bring out my dye, and that'll be another section of the video. So I just wanted to show you this is how we get started. Okay, welcome back. Here we're looking at the yarn. It's been about an hour or so worth of time. There is still liquid. If I move this, you can see there's still liquid. So this is really interesting. I love this kind of watching this process happen. This is not entirely soaked through, like it still feels dry to the touch. This is completely sopped. So it will slowly work its way through these areas as we leave it, as we just let it sit. So that's my plan, just let it sit. Hello, welcome back. It is now 11:30 p.m. We started this adventure at about 6:30 or so. So it's mostly taken up all of the liquid. If I move this around, you can see there's a little bit right through there, but there's not a whole lot. There's not a lot of liquid left. So, which is good. That's kind of what you want. So you can see, make sure there's not a light catching. There's a few sections, like see how this is a little bit lighter right through here. It's not completely, it's just the light. But like this right here where my finger is, this hasn't been taken up. So my goal is just let it completely take up, and then this section right here. See how that's a little bit lighter than the rest? tuck that in. This is really cold, by the way. Like, this vinegar already feels cold to the touch whenever I touch it. Whenever I've done this before with costumes, cosplays and stuff, when I was dyeing Richia's skirt, I think was what I was dyeing the most. Vinegar, I don't know why, it just seems to hold on to its coldness. Alrighty, so I'm going to be working with acid dyes, Jacquard acid dyes, with the vinegar to water ratio of 50-50 on the yarn. This was the first one that you saw me working with, and then tragedy strikes! And you literally don't get to see any of the process because it's down there in that bottom corner, and I did not notice the entire time. Hello, welcome back. I have a fan running on medium, pointed at the yarn I just dyed. As you can see, it is very blue. All of that pink is present in a couple of like really small areas as like a very pale pinky purple. So the blue completely overpowered it, which is annoying because I would want it to go for like a trans flag type thing. I do like this blue. I will use it. I did zip tie it in 4 sections around it to make sure it would stay well. So it's on a baking sheet and a cookie sheet. So if there's air underneath, the fan is aimed at it, and then it's propped up on several boxes so that like this fan right here, there's no wind, but up here there is. So I had to lift it up to make sure that this is being hit by the fan. I'm gonna leave this for a couple of hours, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to rotate it and see how it is. But you need to have a fan going to wick the moisture off of it as it's starting to dry. And then in other news over here, we have my paintings. So when I bought my pack from Joann's, I bought 2 of them, same size. The dark one has 3 layers of the dioxine purple, whatever it's called, has 3 layers of that plus black plus the blue mixed in to get that really nice rich dark color. The light's off in here right now and it wouldn't even help much, but it's a very, very dark purple tinted color. And then this is going to be a horizon line. This is water, this is sky. But my horizon line I specifically wanted to be like a pink color. It's more orangey than I wanted, but cadmium red is all that I had. I might dig to see if I have an actual pink. Okay, so it has been just under 20 hours. This is practically bone dry, like I'm feeling in. I did rotate this at so we started drying this I think at 3 or 4 p.m. And then I came over and rotated it before I went to bed at about 9. And I don't feel any wet spots in it whatsoever. And I just re-rotated this like a couple of minutes ago. I had the fan on high for about 2 hours, and then I moved it to medium, and it's been on medium all night. This is basically bone dry. I'm gonna let it dry a little bit more because there might still be sections in there that I don't see or I don't feel with my hand. But you know how when things come out of the dryer and they feel dry, but then you let them go and they're not. So it's not how I wanted it, but I'm glad that I experimented. Okay, hello, welcome. I'm going to be off camera here for a minute while I stir. So I have the acid dye, I'm wearing gloves. I have 2 layers of foil down because the day before I had 1 layer of foil and something really interesting happened to the foil. It seemed to oxidize and then crack, and like the acid ate through the tin foil and got onto my countertop. So I have a countertop I need to clean blue dye off of. Interestingly, the pink dye did not do this. I don't quite know why. Is 100% wool, Cascade 220. It has been treated over 24 hours, or just about 24 hours, with a 50-50 vinegar water solution. I have parchment paper and then tin foil underneath because it does have to sit here for a little bit. One thing I've also done differently is last time I did not wring out the yarn, like give it a gentle squeeze to get excess vinegar and water out of it. I did not do that last time. This time I did. That will affect how the dye moves because if there's less liquid for it to sit in, it's just going to move less. So see how like that just, it barely moved? Okay, chat. It has been about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and it doesn't look like it's moved too much. It's moved a little bit here and there in some spots, but not really. So I'm going to go ahead and add more ink to this. Okay, so I am mid cleaning up, and this is what I wanted to show you. See this like yellow dot? There's pink right here, and then there's blue, and then there's this yellow dot right there. That's what I was talking about, how I said like it seems to oxidize and then like eat through the tin foil. Yep, and if we look underneath, it has leaked. Really interesting. Okay, we have now sat for about a little over half an hour, and it looks mostly unchanged. There's still several sections of white that haven't been consumed, like this section right down in here. Still pretty white. And if I rotate it over, you can see that there's some more. I'm going to go put on gloves, rinse this off, and I'll see you in front of the fan. Alrighty, welcome in. We have a fan going, wind blowing on my hands, and we have the yarn here. The pink got overpowered by the blue again. However, there are like large sections right here that are still pinky purpley, so I'm not upset. I just wish, you know, that it was more. So this is what I did the other day. So if you look, it's like 90%. Let me turn so that I'm in the light. You can see it's like 90% blue. Hello. If you've made it this far into the video, please be sure to give it a like, perhaps subscribe. I'm not quite sure if this is something that I want to continue to do in the future. I am finding out in post that the editing software that I'm using is actually a lot easier than I thought it would be, so I feel personally the barrier for me to edit these videos together actually won't be so terrible as I get more familiar with the software. And now for a very important cat break. What are you doing? Okay, this is the result of getting rained out at the Saturday market. So this is both of my tablecloths. So the black one is the one that goes underneath. It's the stretchy kind of fits thing. And then this is the top one. And I got completely soaked, myself included. These got soaked as well. These actually dried pretty fast. This is an exterior fabric. It's not meant for interior stuff. So it did dry pretty fast. But to help it along, as you can see, there was a bunch of paper towels that I just had a bunch of water. And then you can see here, this dark triangle, that is water that got onto this carpet. But I did have my fan going aimed directly at this, and then I turned this around halfway through, and then the gloves that I wore for like getting stuff in and out also got soaked. So just keep that in mind, that if you're going to do outdoor shows, you might need to be prepared to have your stuff hanging suddenly in the middle of your workspace to dry. These toys were put into, this is heat sealing stuff to keep them protected. They all seem like they're pretty fine. They're pretty dry. The bunny as well. And then the whales, they're in this individual, like an Easter bag present, gift wrap bag. And they have done fine too, but I wanted to make sure that that got dried. And then I have another bag over here. This bag got wet inside And outside you can see there's some raindrops still on the inside because I didn't think my gachapon machine would do bad, but then I saw that this is open to the interior where the presents are. And so it got a little bit wet, and so I put the present bag on top of it. And that's why this is wet inside. And then of course the chair that I sat on got wet too. This dried pretty fast as well. So just, you know, be prepared if you're outdoors doing a show and you happen to not have a tent. Be prepared. I was fine. The only thing that made me leave was the gloves that I wore. These grippy gloves over here. These are not waterproof. Like this section is waterproof, but the backs of them, this isn't waterproof. So my hands, you can kind of see, are still like, they need moisture. They need real moisture, not rain just soaking them. Okay, welcome to the final section of yarn dyeing. So this is the yarn that I did before. As you can see, I'll walk over here into this light, this natural light. This is very blue. You can almost not even see that there's like little bits of light purple and stuff. On camera, it's reading very blue. It's actually more faint in color. You can see there's a little bit of like faded purples and stuff. So there's that one. And then the second one, you can see right here, this one has retained a little bit of its white, not very much. It looks a bit more pinky purple in person, so there is that. I actually like this one better because I don't know why, I think the pink and the blues worked really well with it. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and get these caked up. We'll see what they look like when they're caked. Hello and welcome. We will now go to the part of the section where my cat cries at me constantly. Move out of my way. So this is how you wind yarn when you have a tiny house. Not a tiny house like the branded one, but definitely a small house. So I've been trying to think about what sort of toy I want to make with this yarn. And at first I was thinking of doing whales or frogs, and honestly I kind of might do a frog. The frogs take one skein each and then they leave excess, and so I think that will be a great opportunity to compare these yarns as the exact same toy pattern, so they're twins the whole way through this journey. I was also thinking of doing a long neck dinosaur. There's a good pattern in Pika-Pow, but the more I think about it, it won't work because that pattern needs 2 identical skeins for the head, body, legs, and then the tail. So these do not match enough to work for that. Okay, this is the more pink one, and as you can see, it's very evenly pink and blue distributed. And then this is the first one that I did that had basically the same amount of pink dye in it, but the blue completely overshadowed it, and you can see that there is a very distinct difference between the two of these. So yes, they cannot be the same toy. They have to be 2 separate toys, or they have to be like a toy with accents. So I think I'm going to go with frogs. At least for this one. I'm going to make this one, I think, into a frog. This one could be turned into like little small whales or something else, and I'm just quite not sure what yet. But I think frog. I think I'm going to make this into a frog. I might make this one into a frog too. This is I don't have a blue like this. So this will be a very interesting like soft blue frog color. Yeah. Thanks for sticking around. If you're interested in yarn reviews, I have several on my channel. Be sure to like and subscribe. Bye!